The rain barrel is a container that catches rainwater, either off your house or a shed. You use it to irrigate your garden, which cuts down on the cost of paying for water. The rain here you collect, it has no chemicals in it, it doesn't cost you, and you can use it in many, many different ways. Hi, I'm Bill Willis. I'm a master gardener with the Virginia Cooperative Extension Office located in Manassas, Virginia. And I've been asked today to talk about rain barrels. So I'm talking about 5 topics. Most important, safety of a rain barrel system. Then we'll talk about construction, how you put a system together. 3, how to attach it to a water source such as your house. 4, how do you use a rain barrel? And 5, in the winter, when you're not using them, what kind of care must you put on them so in fact they're ready to go in the spring. So first let's talk about safety. This is a 60-gallon tank. There are 3 of them here, plus the platform. This system weighs 2,000 pounds or 1 ton. This is something you do not want to fall on you. So when you build a stand, you've got to keep in mind the strength of the stand, how much weight it has to hold, and the placement on the ground. You have to lift it up primarily. No, this is lifted, elevated, because it's gravity fed. So the rule is the higher you go, the wider the base. Attachment. These rain barrels are attached to my gutters up here. Basically, what I do, I take a piece. There's different ways to attach. I just cut a piece of the gutter out. I have it going into here, into a container that looks like this here. It looks like this. It covered with screening wire. Why? 1, your roof is going to have a lot of sediment. You want to keep that out of the barrel. Number 2, mosquitoes. They'll in fact lay eggs in here and hatch. So the screen does 2 things. Keeps mosquitoes out. Also catches all the debris off your house during a rainstorm. You're going to have it every time it rains to do like that. When the rain barrel fills up to here, overflow valve into the system I have that would normally eliminate the rainwater coming through the gutter. I set this up in the spring, and in the winter I take this off, put a little extension up here, and the house, the rain barrels then in fact stay empty. There's an equation you can use to calculate based upon the surface area of your roof and the amount of rainfall, 1 inch of rain. You'd be surprised how quickly these barrels fill up. When it fills up here, the overflow goes through and it goes out. The way my system is set up, these 3 barrels are connected at the bottom. They all 3 fill simultaneously, and there's a reason for that. Some people, you'll see where they're connected up here. This barrel has to fill, then this barrel has to fill, and that barrel has to fill. That means you've got to have a faucet on each of your barrels to drain it. Some people cut a large hole in the top and put a sump pump in. I don't do that for 2 reasons. Number 1, it creates a very, very large hole, and you've got to put a hole in every one of your drums. The method I have, I'm going to demonstrate, all 3 barrels are connected. I have 2 outlets here. And as far as application of the rain barrel, all I have to do here, I can do it a couple of ways. 1, you do it the old-fashioned way. I can take it like this here. I can open up the valve, and I can fill it like this. Or I can then take a hose system I can open up the valve again then. Lay it out till the hose fills up and have it like this here. Now, as I raise this hose up, the water will stop flowing as soon as I'm at the height of the barrel because it's gravity fed. There's no pressure here. As I lower it down, it begins to come out. Much pressure you can spray, but not a lot of pressure because it has a lot of water. So if you're going to water, like case my garden, I can't use it just gravity fed. But I can water flowers, plants, things around here, potted plants. In the area I can do that. The hose length, the longer the hose, the slower the water will come out. But in my system, because this is the lowest part of my yard, my rain barrels are quite efficient because this is how I do it. I turn this off. I disconnect this, And I have what they call an electric transfer pump. This is what you use if your basement should flood. Empty the basement, empty a swimming pool. You got a large volume of water you want to empty. You can come up and do it this way. So what I do here is connect it up like this. If I want to use the hose, I can connect this like this here. Open my valves. I use both valves when I do this here. Open both valves. You see the water here really comes out, and I can hold it up this high here. I can attach, I get a good spray with it, just like a hose. But I've got a better system than that. My garden goes to the top of the hill. I put in a complete drip water system in my entire garden. I don't water with a hose, I don't water with a jug. It's all done with a drip line. Here's how I use my rain barrels with a drip line. I've got a hose here attached to my irrigation system. Connect this hose to my pump, turn on my valves, plug it in. This water goes up through my irrigation system. This pump will pump water to the top of the hill. My drip line's in here. This is the most efficient way of watering a garden, and it works out quite well. In the winter, when you're done, you'll want to get all the debris out of here. If you haven't painted your barrels, you either got an opaque barrel or get one in painted black, so there's no algae inside there. If you don't do this to them, you can't disconnect them and clean them. So all my barrels are connected with hose connectors. So in the winter, I drain them. I can undo each one of them, wash it all out, and then let it sit till spring.
Okay, before considering rain barrels, we have to go all the way back to the very beginning of where they live. The next thing that needs to be considered is, what is the roof type made of? Hopefully it'll be a modern day fiberglass shingle, which doesn't have any asbestos or any asbestos toxic chemical. The first problem that happens is algae bloom will develop, but before that develops, what will probably happen is mosquitoes are looking for a place to have eggs and develop a family. What I do is I have tops for all my containers. The containers are all black, which means sunlight does not get in. And then I use one other ingredient, which is called a mosquito dunk. If you go online, for $9, I can buy 20. Wherever you go, there's a couple of things that you have to think about. Look on the back and look for a larvicide with the label of BTI. And if it has BTI, it's also going to have a EPA endorsement trademark, which means this product has been checked for toxicity, which means it's safe for humans. I break this off into quarters, and then maybe once a month I may put a quarter in. By doing it this way, I know that the plants are getting at least 1 inch per week. My goal is not to use the well water.